Hey, welcome back to Morton Fire and Rescue. My name's Sean. I'm here with Ophelia today, and we're going to go over one of my favorite trucks, our engine. So, if you're ready, follow us and we'll show you around. This is our engine, or pumper truck number 142. It's a 1998 E-One Cyclone, and this truck is different than the other trucks you may have seen in that this truck carries the largest amount of water amongst our fleet, as well as it's capable of pumping a large volume of water at a working fire. Besides putting the wet stuff on the red stuff, this truck also responds to other technical rescues, hazmat, vehicle extrication, and even extra personnel to provide basic life support alongside paramedics at emergency medical scenarios. Follow me and we'll take a look at the pump panel and see what's in the compartments. So up here, it may look a bit like a spaceship, and it kind of is. There's a lot going on if you're a pump operator. All these handles control different inlets and outlets amongst the truck, water going in and water going out is the long short of it. So up here we have all our gauges, and each one of those will show the pressure for individual lines going in or out of this fire truck. The big ones here, our compound, tells us the pressure, the water pressure coming into the truck if we're hooked up to a fire hydrant, let's say in town, or it'll even show us the vacuum that we're drawing if we're let's say drafting from the lake or a pond or a different water source in that way. This gauge here it'll just be similar to whichever the pressure going out of the truck. So if you have one line, those two gauges will match up, but it gets a little complicated once you have multiple lines going into different fire scenarios.
Okay, go ahead.
Behind this panel here is the actual fire pump that pumps the water. Like we were speaking to the gauges before up top, the inlets and outlets, that's referring to these here. Generally speaking, any discharge will be angled downwards and inlets will be straight in and out. Up here we have an axe used for ventilation, forcible entry, anything like that, very common in firefighting. And we carry our two 200-foot, 1.5 inch pre-connects. These would be our go-to lines to any working structure fire. Oftentimes we find ourselves responding to fire emergencies outside the community, not serviced by fire hydrants, and we're left to find our own static water source. And that's where these hard suction drafting hoses come into play. They'll hook up directly to the side of the truck on one of those inlets you saw before, and we can get our water from a portable water tank. We can draft it out of a lake or a pond, whatever we need to do. Okay, now let's take a look at what's inside these compartments. Up here you'll see different nozzles, or water appliances we call them. There are different sizes for the different hose sizes you'll see, and even for different fires and types of fires and whatever we're dealt with. We have a monitor base down here. You'll see for the big monitor that's up top, we can mount it on the ground. We got a water thief to split water lines or whatever the case may be. Portable fuel tank for our portable pump that you'll see later, as well as a chainsaw for ventilation, cutting into roofs, and our ice auger for cutting through the ice to find our own static water source like you heard before. like we said before, this truck is primarily about fire and fire suppression, and it carries multiple lengths of fire hose in different sizes and different quantities. We carry bottles, spare SCBA bottles for our breathing apparatus in the sides of the trucks. You'll see there's 2 there. So in this cabinet here, we actually carry firefighting foam that, believe me or not, it will actually make the water wetter. We would use this foam when we're fighting stubborn fires such as car fires, anything with plastics or fuel-based, oil-based. We would use this, we would put this on the end of a nozzle, and it aerates the foam and allows us to apply thicker foam that will actually end up being able to stick to the side of the building even. In conjunction with that, we would use our foam adductor. We would stick this end into that firefighting foam pail, and our fire hoses would go into each end of this adductor, drawing the foam into our attack lines. We also carry, as well as more Cleveland loads that we'll speak to later, and 2.5-inch donut rolls. So here at the back of the apparatus, we carry multiple pipe poles and an attic ladder to get into small places. There's also another pipe pole here, tri-bar, multiple lengths of supply line, 2.5 and 4-inch hose. 4-inch is the one you would see pulling out of the back of a fire engine, wrapping around a hydrant. And we also have a 2.5-inch pre-connect that we would use in large fires at commercial incidents. We carry, for the ice auger, like you saw before, it's stored in the back. And we also have our portable fire pump back here as well for drafting from that static water source. We have scene lighting on the back of the truck, multiple spanner wrenches for our large diameter 4-inch supply hose. And we also carry a 35-foot free-fly extension ladder as well as a 16-foot roof ladder. So, back here, to go with the scene lighting, we carry multiple lengths of extension cords, different adapters for different appliances, as well as working rope for whatever we would need to achieve. Back here we have float strainers that we would hook up to the end of our hard suction when we're drafting from a water source to keep all the grass and whatever's in that pond or lake out of our fire pump, as well as our hydrant bag. This bag you would grab if you were the hydrant guy, as well as your 4-inch supply hose, and tag the hydrant while the truck takes off towards the fire scene. Under here you'd see our generator. We would fire this up and plug in our scene lights into this. And again, just like the other side, we also have our SCBA breathing apparatus air tanks. This truck also carries a little bit of wildland or brush fire equipment. We have water backpacks when we end up out in the valley chasing small brush fires through the bush, as well as portable water tank. This tank we can set up when we're outside the community where there isn't serviced by fire hydrants. We can dump our tank into this, so another apparatus or aerial or whatever it may be can draft out of this while we head back into town to fill up our truck, grab more water, and run a water shuttle that way. You'll find the other side of the pump looks very similar to the driver's side. Outlets, inlets, back to our pre-connects. They're set up so you can pull the line, whether you're on the passenger side or the driver's side. We can pull that line off either way, whatever it may be we need to accomplish. So in here, we're in the cab of the truck. Ophelia's already in here, ready to go. This is where our 4 firefighters would sit. We have our seat-mounted breathing apparatus that we can actually don on the way to a call. We would wear these anytime the air quality is deemed immediately dangerous to life or health. That's when we would want these on. We also have our accountability cone. This would be set up outside the hot zone at an incident. That could be that could mean going inside a working fire at a house or a structure. Anytime we're responding on an apparatus, each firefighter has his own number and his accountability tag, which you would tag in to the truck you're responding on, as well as if you're heading into the hot zone, you would tag in here so that we know who's on what apparatus and who's inside the hot zone and who needs to come out. We also carry our traffic vests for when anytime we're working on the highway or the roadway, we want to make sure we're visible. We got our flashlights here, our radios. We never step off the truck without a radio as well. We also have, you may have noticed this TV here, it's actually hooked up to our thermal imaging camera that you can see what's going on inside the fire out here in this cab of this truck as well. Let's step out of here and we'll go around and check out the captain's seat. So up front here, this is where the captain would sit. He also has a seat-mounted apparatus. The captain is also in charge of working the lights and sirens. He's got his radios here as well as his iPad that shows him maps, closest fire hydrants, anything of that sorts, as well as different responding apparatus and who's responding and who's not. We'll go around to the front of the truck here, take a look at what we carry on the bumper. Up here, we actually carry 100 foot of rubber jacketed hose. We call this our jump line or our trash line. We would use this in smaller fires or brush fires, garbage fires like we call it a trash line. Quick deployment, easy cleanup, under control. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fire Truck Fridays. We'll see you next time. Stay safe.